Hi, listeners. Before we get to the episode, we want to take a moment to address the June 24th, 2022 Supreme Court decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. This decision stripped away the right to have a safe and legal abortion. Everyone should have the freedom to decide what's best for themselves and their families, including when it comes to ending a pregnancy. This decision has dire consequences for individual health and safety and could have harsh repercussions for other landmark decisions. Restricting access to comprehensive reproductive care, including abortion, threatens the health and independence of all Americans. Learn more by visiting podvoices.help. If you are able to support others, please consider donating to abortion funds. We encourage you to speak up, take care, and spread the word.
This is the download from Sounds Profitable, the most important news from this week and why it matters to people in the business of podcasting. I'm Manuela Bedoya.
And I am Shreya Sharma. This week, Sounds Profitable publishes the Creators Report. Slate is running provocative billboards for Slow Burn. Spotify turns its radar on podcasts. Rising YouTube CPMs make the platform even more attractive for podcasters. And news organizations struggle to keep young folks around. Let's get started.
Firstly, if you'll indulge us a bit of self-promotion, the first ever Sounds Profitable report has been delivered. On Tuesday, Sounds Profitable hosted a first-of-its-kind presentation of the creators. Here's how we build it. Sounds Profitable, in partnership with Edison Research, has put together the first credible study of the profile of podcast creators in America. This is an incredibly important benchmark in the history of podcasting and the first of many regular reports Sounds Profitable will be publishing to chart the future of the audio business. End quote. The Creators operates off a data sample of 617 people who fit the profile of having produced a podcast, were over the age of 18, and listened to podcasts weekly. The data was collected from Q2 2021 through Q1 of this year. Some results put into sharp focus many assumed truths of the industry, as well as challenging others. The gender makeup of those polled showed 69% of creators were men, 20% higher than the population of the United States. On that same token, the ethnicity spectrum shows podcasting has more diversity, with more representation of Black and Hispanic/Latino podcasters than the census reports as a national average. These juicy stats and more are available at soundsprofitable.com/thecreators, from the presentation's video to a spiffy 35-slide PDF of just a presentation for you raw data nerds out there.
In an advertising campaign fitting of a flashy documentary, Slate is running a stealth billboard campaign for the current season of Slow Burn. Ariel Shapiro covered this on Tuesday's Hot Pod. Here's an excerpt from Ariel's piece. I quote, "Slate is launching a provocative new campaign to promote its latest season of Slow Burn, which tells the story of Shirley Wheeler, the first woman convicted of manslaughter for getting an abortion. The outlet has placed billboards in states that now have some of the strictest abortion laws in the country, urging passersby to, quote, defend Shirley Wheeler, end quote. The billboards are up in 7 states with deeply entrenched anti-abortion sentiment that had trigger laws waiting for Roe v. Wade's nullification. The same issue of Hot Pod also spotlighted the efforts of Earbuds Podcast Collective founder Ariel Nissenblatt to organize a massive campaign of podcasts, running pre-roll messages to advocate for abortion rights. Messages like the one you'll find at the beginning of this very episode. Hundreds of podcasters have signed on to the cause, including the Bechdel Cast, You Are Good, and legacy household name My Favorite Murder.
This Wednesday, Spotify announced a podcast version of its Radar program, originally created to spotlight up-and-coming artists on the music side of the app. Radar Podcasters aims to get promising young podcasts in front of wider audiences with free exposure in-app. Each quarter, Spotify's content editors in participating regions will select 3 podcasts to spotlight with the Radar program. Podcast editorial lead Brianne O'Brien goes more into the rhetoric used. Quote, "We'll focus on creators with shows that exhibit authenticity and inclusivity. Give us a reason to keep listening and educate and entertain." End quote. Currently, the list of participating countries is 15, including 13 countries in which English is not the default language. This is encouraging news for more big company recognition of podcasting strengths outside the North American and UK English-speaking bubble. O'Brien seems passionate about the cause too. Quoting the article, "My team and Spotifyers more broadly are podcast enthusiasts. So first and foremost, we really want to underscore the hard work that's being done by creators to take their podcasts to the next level, but also to build those long-lasting relationships with their audience." End quote. Little is given in the way of specific details outside of which countries will be involved and how many podcasts are being selected. For example, the paragraph dedicated to addressing how the program will measure success offers no concrete ways by which they'll measure success. The main drive seems to be that the program exists and those involved are excited to execute its ambitious mission. Currently, Radar Podcaster will only spotlight podcasts hosted on Anchor. Big Green sees the utility in embracing its creators, but for now, only creators who are wholly locked into the Spotify system.
Last Thursday, Phoebe Bain of Marketing Brew revealed that there's a reason most YouTubers are doing baked-in influencer ads these days, and that could be excellent news for podcasts. Here's an excerpt from Phoebe's piece. I quote, "According to a new report that influencer marketing agency The OutLoud Group shared exclusively with Marketing Brew, influencer CPMs went up across major verticals on YouTube, from beauty and fashion to education in 2021. End quote. One example given is from the YouTube mainstay of gaming. The median CPM for influencers who focused on gaming content was $54.68 in 2021. Now in 2022, it has climbed to $66.48. And gaming influencers aren't even in the top 5 fastest growing genres on the OutLoud chart. Bain quotes OutLoud Group Vice President Nicole Kelly on the topic of rising influencer rates in general, the group having come to the conclusion that YouTube influencers are raising rates in general beyond CPMs. Podcasting is trying to figure out the right way to blend YouTube impressions with podcast downloads. For some, podcast CPMs are a better bet, but Marketing Brew's chart shows YouTube ads sold directly by influencers exceed podcasting average CPM by quite a bit. Yet another reason for the video-agnostic producers to consider a video strategy for their podcasts.
Last Thursday, Sarah Gualioni of Digiday covered a recent panel at a Reuters event in which prominent execs and editors in the news world addressed a big issue. Young people aren't watching the news anymore. Quoting the article, roughly 4 out of 10 people under 35 years old, 42%, sometimes or often actively avoid the news, according to the 11th annual Digital News Report conducted by the Reuters Institute for the Study of Journalism. Albeit that aversion is only slightly more acute than among those 35 years old and older, 36% of whom sometimes or often steer clear of the news. End quote. Reasons for the drop in attention are numerous. The panel proposed several, including the draining effect of repetitive long-term events like politics or the pandemic. The under 35 demo is also cited as the one with the lowest amount of trust in established news organizations, and the percentage who outright distrust the media is growing rapidly. Legacy institutions are scrambling to solve for the growing problem. Gualioni points to places like the Los Angeles Times creating a team of people whose sole mission is to repackage LA Times content for Instagram. We bring this story to the download because a significant portion of podcasting is news. Just because we're the cool new kids on the content blog doesn't mean the issues affecting the rest of the journalism industry haven't taken root here as well. And the proposed solutions to fix the issue for online and print orgs likely contain useful strategies for podcasting.
Now it's time for a semi-recurring segment spotlighting articles worth reading that didn't quite make it into the episode. This week, the download has just one to recommend, but it makes an excellent companion piece to the story Manuela just told you about. And this is William Turville's piece on the top 25 newspaper circulations and the fall of print sales in 2022.
And that was the download from Sounds Profitable. I know we went through these fast, so be sure to check out the links to every article mentioned. right in your podcast listening app or on soundsprofitable.com/thedownload. And thank you for sticking with us as we bring you the top stories you might have missed from the past week. I'm Manuela Bedoya.
And I'm Shreya Sharma. Our producers are Brian Barletta and Evo Terra. Special thanks to Gavin Gaddis for writing today's script and to Omni Studio for hosting The Download. And as always, thank you to you for joining us. Robot.
Download complete.